welcome to Chef Zone. My name is Joy Goto, and on behalf of the Chef Zone team, we're excited to have you all here this evening. Tonight's featured product is local Molokai venison from native Hawaiian-owned Mauka meats that will be paired with wines from Kaka'ako Wines. We're again so honored to have Chef Alan Wong lead our Onolicious Kitchen series. Chef will be preparing Mauka meats Molokai venison today in a variety of ways and showcase this local protein distributed by a local company, which also is helping to solve the issue of an invasive species. And now, the man of the hour, my best friend in the entire world, Chef Alan Wong.
Aloha. Wow, thank you.
We're best friends. We're totally best friends.
Okay. We have many things. You can see there's a lot of things happening here. So I'm going to use the ground venison. I'm going to use the loin, what they call the backstrap. I guess hunters call it backstrap, yeah? In the kitchen, it's loin, or strip loin, or the New York steak. Okay, you can see the racks over there, where the chops come from. And let me see, the tenderloin. So we're going to go from ground and to raw to cooked. And if you don't want to eat raw, that's totally fine. Okay? When the cooked stuff comes out, if it's too rare, you just give it back to me and you tell me how you want it done. There's going to be a side by side tasting. One of them is going to be ground venison with no salt, no seasoning. Another one is going to be ground beef, generic supermarket mainland beef. Okay, same way, no seasoning, no spices. And the other one is going to be a local grass-fed beef. You'll have three. And I'm going to ask you, you want the left side, the right side, or the middle best? There is no wrong answer, there is no right answer, it's just your personal preference. But I'm going to be curious which one you guys pick in general. Okay? Now, I shouldn't give you the answer, yeah? Let's just do that first. Okay? And then you're going to get another ground one. Ground venison. And this one is spiced. And I'll explain why it's spiced the way it is. And if you can get a hold of this one, then you can easily make chili. You can make sloppy joes. You can make anything you want with this ground venison kind of idea. Okay? All right, so you should be having your tea and get plenty. So if you like small later on, you're eating the venison, just raise your hand, okay? Are we ready to make a decision? Okay, how many left side? How many chose left side as their favorite one? How many chose the right side as their favorite one? How many chose the middle as their favorite one?
The left one is the mainland beef.
That one is the mainland.
The middle is the grass-fed beef.
Oh, my.
And the one on the far right is your Molokai venison.
Is that the most? What's interesting is there's a tie, and the tie is between two local products. We tried to keep everything about 90-10. The venison, correct me if I'm wrong, is about 97.3. Okay, only 3% fat, so that should have been the driest one. Okay? And if you still got the mainland one, when you compare the two beefs, sometimes what I get is a little lactic acid, little sourness. Not sour spoil, just a little bit acid when you do that back and forth. I think a lot of people are afraid of game meat, venison, maybe because they think it's exotic. And you think because it's game meat that it's kind of like gamey, and gamey is associated with kind of smelly. Okay? Strong. And if you get it, what are you going to do with it? Like, for example, when you put this in the pan, when you thaw this up in the pan, because of the low fat, it kind of sticks together. Okay? To separate them, I got to take a mashed potato masher and kind of beat down on them to make the the things separate because it just tends to stick together. There's no fat that makes it kind of dissolve easy. Okay? The thing that you're going to notice is, was the venison stinky? Was it smelly? Okay, so you're going to notice that it's kind of clean smelling, yeah? Now, when I say clean, I'm not talking about soap and water, okay? I'm talking about there's an absence of smell. You're going to eat it raw too, if you want, okay? One of the first things I did when I met Micah, I said, can you eat it raw? So I like to eat something raw if you can eat it raw, and I check just to get a taste for it. What we did was we made ceviche. I made ceviche. So the ceviche was made out of the backstrap of the loin. I opened the loin and looked at it. It looked like a log of sashimi, nice and red. So I thought I sliced one off and I put them in my mouth just to taste it. So I kept slicing. I squeezed some lime juice on it, some cilantro, some onion, some chili peppers, and that was ceviche. So on the TV news yesterday, I took the tenderloin, cubed it because it looks like ahi, and I made just real simple poke. Okay, so you can try both of those today. And if you don't want to eat it raw, that's fine. Okay, this is a simple poke. The first thing I always do is I season it with salt. Okay, and you let it sit. You can see it's a little bit shiny. The salt is melting. Okay, this is basically kosher salt. Then diced onions, green onion, if I had inamona, I would use inamona, sesame oil. If I'm at home, I would use chili peppers. In the restaurant, I use sambal because this one is always consistent. Yeah, so if you have staff making this and putting it together for you and not yourself, this remains consistent all the time. Otherwise, you might have one real hot, one not hot enough, and it's just like changing. And you put as little or as much as you like. Okay? You don't have to add any if you don't like it spicy. Okay, what I get is I get meat that is like it's firm but it's soft at the same time. It's not mushy. Yeah? And you can flavor it whatever way you like. While you guys trying to poke it, I'm making the ceviche here now. If you can see this loin here, all I'm doing is like right out of the package, I'm slicing it thin like sashimi. Okay? And you can see it's a thin piece of sashimi. Okay? When I met Micah for the first time, this is what I did. And then there's very little iron, not gamey at all. If you blindfolded me and told me this is beef, I would believe you. Okay? So I slice this, and just like the poke, I'm going to season it. Okay, after the salt, fresh lime juice. Okay, onion, cilantro, Thai chilies. Okay. The reason why this looks kind of like sashimi tossed with onions is because it's barely cooked. It just touched the lime juice. It's been sitting in the lime juice a little bit for like 60 seconds right now. Okay? I don't know if you can see this board, but the cilantro stems have more flavor than the leaves. When you bite on that stem, that's a burst of flavor. Next dish is you take the venison. So the ratio for this one is 1-to-1 venison, and ground pork. Okay? So the venison is 97% meat, 3% fat. So when you're adding pork, you're not only stretching it, but you're giving it a little bit more fat. Enough so that I can put them in a wonton. Okay? So that's what I did, 1-to-1, venison, ground venison and ground pork. But I spiced it very similar to how you ate it in that soboro. So, the wontons are cooking here. Here, I have orzo and rice. Okay? Now, I love the orzo. It's a pasta, but when you eat this orzo, it's slippery like a noodle. And when you eat this, I'm hoping that you're going to feel like you're eating a wonton min without the min. Okay? All right? Now, there's not only orzo, but there's some boiled rice. Okay? There's a combination of chicken's broth and kombu dashi. Basically, you make chicken broth, throw some kombu inside to give it more umami. Okay? And I took some of the inspired chef's truffles in oil, I blended it with butter, and I came up with my own truffle butter. Okay? They also sell the butter already prepared. Right? So this goes inside here too. Seems like a lot, but that's probably for like 12 people. So the kombu has a lot of glutamates or umami. Okay? I'm going to finish this with some grated Parmesan cheese, which has a lot of umami and glutamates too. Okay? So you got orzo, you got rice, you got broth, and you got truffle butter, and you got Parmesan cheese. Okay? Now, what I didn't tell you yet is that broth is thickened, okay, with a little bit of arrowroot. Arrowroot acts like cornstarch. You can add cornstarch if you like. And I put a few slices of ginger. Okay? The ginger is also something that chases the smell. And then at the last minute, I'm going to add this. This is my quick pickle mustard cabbage tsukemono. 2 ingredients, mustard cabbage and salt. When I say quick, this is not the fermented one. Okay? So what I do is I chop up the mustard cabbage, I add a little salt, and I massage it. So it has the appearance of blanched, but it's not been cooked. The salt and massaging breaks down the leaf, the cell structure, and the salt goes right in. So you find you add less salt than you normally would. So this goes in the last minute. If you get enough, if it's ready, we can go. So this is the dressing. It's called chili lemongrass dressing. So soy sauce. It's about a cup, right? I'm going to dilute it with water. Okay? Now this is about a cup too, but I only added like a little bit because I can add more later on. Okay? Add a little bit more. Okay. So what I just did is I diluted soy sauce. Okay? Sodium. I'm going to add, normally they add palm sugar. So I'm going to add brown sugar. Okay? This is from the sweet box. Sweet box. It's about a cup of shoyu with 1/4 cup of water so far. Okay? That was about a 1/2 cup. Okay? Sodium, sweet. Acid, lime juice, fresh lime juice, squeezed. So we got something sweet, sour, and salty going on. Okay? What you should do is, after you put everything one by one, you taste them. Okay? I'm going to add more acid. I'm going to add more brown sugar. Then I'm going to add ginger slices. Here come the aromatics. Okay? Some crushed garlic. Some sliced shallots. Okay? If you don't have shallots, you can use onion. And something called galangal. this very woody, hard thing that you go to the store and you don't know what to do with it. And you can't replace that, okay? So I slice some lemongrass. Okay? Then I have one chili, a Thai chili. Now in Thailand, they probably put like, for that much, put like 6 chilies. Okay? And you add as little as or as much as you want, but the heat is important to be there for the sweet. The heat and the sweet play together. The sweet and the sour are playing together. Okay? And they're all like connected with the sodium. Does that make sense? If you follow this ratio, 1 to 1 to 1, totally different. Nothing to do with this one. Okay? Shoyu, sugar, and water. Okay? That's basically almost like a teriyaki sauce. Okay? In Japan, it would be different. Instead of the water, they put sake. Instead of the sugar, they put maybe mirin or mirin and sugar. But they're still doing the same thing. Sodium, sweet, and instead of water, sake. Okay? That's their teriyaki sauce. The reason why I mentioned that is because when you deal in ratios and you actually measure, okay, it's like I relate it to singing in the car with the radio on, the music on, really loud. So when you're singing to them, you don't sound bad. Okay? That's what the ratio does for you. It gives you a board, a line to work off of. If you want more sweet, you go more sweet. You want more acid, you go this way. But the ratio always works. It will always be consistent for you. Like the loud music that you play when you sing in the car. Okay? Or in the shower. More aromatics. Cilantro. Okay? Can you get some basil, please? My most favorite one of them all, kaffir lime leaves. Okay? You can tell when you got the real one because it's a double leaf. Okay? Kaffir lime leaf. And if you really want to tell, you bruise it in your hand and you can really smell what the oils that come out the smell. Let me confuse you some more. Galangal. Okay, I'm going to confuse you some more. In Thailand, get greater galangal and lesser galangal. But for Hawaii, that's galangal. Okay, Thai basil. Bruise them, put them in. So, I told you about Thailand. I showed you how I made the dressing for the Thai beef salad. Instead of a beef salad, you're getting a venison. Okay? Now, bear with me. If you don't understand, just ask me a question. This is the protocol for venison. Okay? For both the loin and the rack. You take your meat out about 2 hours before you're going to cook them. Let it come to room temperature. And you salt it. So, it's 2 hours, got salt on it. Okay? You preheat your oven. And it's actually going to be 200 degrees. So you can make them 350 and then turn them up to 200 after 2 hours, okay? You put your meat on a rack because when the meat touches the bottom of the pan, that side will cook faster than the other side on top. Okay? You want to put the meat in the oven at 200 degrees until it reaches 110 degrees internal temperature. Okay? 110. Take them out. Let them rest half an hour. When you think it's going to go, about maybe half an hour before the party starts. Okay? After it's rested a half an hour, you sear it. Make it brown. Then you put them in a 350 oven until it reaches 125 degree internal temperature. Okay? Easy, yeah? Yeah. Then you will get a medium rare all across with no gray on the outside. This is just as good as sous vide cooking. Okay? The whole point is low and slow. And you don't sear and put in the oven like the old-fashioned way. You put in the oven, you get the temperature, and then you sear them. That's called a reverse sear. In fact, if you came last time to the prime rib class, that's how I did the prime rib. So, also on this plate, Sweetland Farms. This is a farm, a goat farm. They make great goat cheese right outside Schofield on your way to Wailua, on the back road. Okay? Emma Bello. She's part of the Peterson farm, the egg farm in Wahiawa that just closed. Okay? She's doing a great job. And one of the unique things about the farm, they grow their own feed. They don't have to import it. Okay? So, here. So this is the first time you're going to try the cooked venison. Okay? Now, you want to try and get the venison medium rare, rare. Okay? Okay, we had a question. Is ahi strong enough to stand up to the lime juice in the ceviche? Okay? The answer is yes. Slice the sashimi, little thicker. Okay? Now, home stretch, gang. Now, the piece that you had there was from the New York steak or the strip loin. Okay? Now, most New York steaks come from the bottom, are usually more lean than the ribeye. If you want fat, juicy steak, order the ribeye if you have a choice between New York and ribeye. Okay? So, this is a rack. Same protocol. 110, take it out, rest, put it back in, 125. Okay? Now, I didn't French it. I left it on the meat between the bones because I think it's a good nibble. Then you get a rack like that. Okay? This glaze is simple. You got honey, you got mustard, you got garlic. Okay? So first you start with your honey. Honey is not just honey. You got darker honey, which is more strong versus lighter honey. And this recipe, you add one ingredient at a time, stir it up, and you taste it. Okay? Because the second ingredient is mustard. And as you know, there are so many different kinds of mustard. Okay? At the Inspired Chef, they have this mustard here. This is the one everybody's familiar with. Okay? Honey, mustard, stir, taste. Okay? The mustard should take the sweetness away. Now you add minced garlic. Everybody's garlic is different. Some are more hot than the others. Okay? You put the garlic in, you stir it up, you taste it. It's supposed to be a nice balance between that spicy hot garlic, the sweet honey, and the mustard. Okay? Then you add some fresh thyme and some Italian parsley. That's it. Now that was what was glazed on top of here. Okay, so you all get a double chop. Ooh. And I'm going to talk about relief, okay? Not that kind of relief, okay? Sometimes when you're eating something, you want something of a flavor here so that you refresh your palate and you want to continue eating. Sometimes you get a intermezzo, a frozen thing that's meant for you to like cleanse your palate and continue eating, okay? So sometimes you will see, like in Italy, okay? They serve mostardas. The thing with game, lamb, you want to eat something, sweetness goes well. Mostarda, obviously mustard. Okay? That complements the game very well. Okay, can I have this? Okay, we can start going now.
Are you done with the curry?
Yeah. All right. So there is a red grape mostarda. There is a pineapple mostarda. There is something like that resembles a tomato chutney. Okay, these are all the sweet sour flavors. The fruit goes well with game. Okay, you guys ever heard of duck à l'orange? It's duck with oranges. Okay, there's a fancy French name for duck with cherries. You know, any fruit. And it's always a gastrique sauce, which means sweet and sour. Okay? The gastrique comes from the gastric juices, sweet and sour. Okay? And there is a kabocha squash coconut curry in the back that accompanies this too. So the coconut milk was on purpose because this little bit of fat should go well with the rack. Okay? The leanness of the rack. And this can be as simple as the venison with a drop of balsamic vinegar. If you want simple, it could be as easy as the meat and a balsamic vinegar. Balsamic vinegars go from 6 months to 25 years old to 50 years old. And there is one 25-year-old there.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, and the older you go, the longer it's been kept, so the more expensive it gets. But you will get a deep, rich, it gets sweeter, but not sugary sweet, balsamic vinegar. Okay? And this is saba, not the fish now. Okay? This is made with in the style of the balsamic vinegar, but with grape must. Okay? So it's very raisiny, sweet. This one's sweeter than that one. You wish to try this with some of the venison? I leave it here. You guys can pass it down. Okay? Pour a drop on your plate when you get it. I hope maybe you were inspired, or number one, realize that it's not really gamey at all. And number two, that if you just take it easy and pay attention, that you can make venison at home too. What's that? Any other questions?
So you didn't
How did you do the kiboshka?
The what?
kabocha.
The kabocha.
Oh, real simple. Cut them into cubes, make a curry sauce, and put them together.
That easy. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. Oh, good.
So you didn't do anything to make the gaminess, quote unquote gaminess, go away. You just use as is, cook the meat as is.
You know, I did add. That's the reason why in the very beginning you had it cooked, ground with no seasoning, and then slowly we started doing things. The loin on the salad was just salt.
So okay.
Okay,
You use
everything was
essence.
around it in that Thai beef salad dressing and the goat cheese. If anything, that goat cheese made it more funky. Oh, okay. When you're serving something that's kind of smelly, what's the easiest fix?
Mask it.
I used to say in the kitchen, when something stink, put them with something more stinks so you don't smell them. Okay? So like, for example, you put a dash of fish sauce at the end.
Right.
I mean, it's not offensive, but it kind of like has that smell, right? So all of a sudden you forgot about the first one. You know? So, you know, we didn't do too much overly to the meat, the loin and the rack. The rack had that honey mustard garlic thyme thing. So don't overcook it. That's the most important thing. Okay? If you can remember the reverse sear, you're in control more than if you cook it the regular way, where you searing it in the pan and you stick them in the oven. That's actually more difficult than this way. Okay? And if you want to try it, you got to invest in a little thermometer to stick in the meat. I think it's worth the time if you're going to do it often and you want to be consistent, even with your steaks and your prime rib. Micah, any last words?
Thank you so much for being here. And honestly, Chef, this is amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for coming. Thanks for staying late.
The mustard.